Big time weekend on deck for official visitors for Tennessee football. The biggest one, an LSU football commit. It's coming up next right here on Locked On Vols.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Make it Friday morning, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Vols. I am your host, Eric Cain. Appreciate you guys for being here, making us a part of your morning routine. Every dayers can do the show without you. Of course, we're a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every single day, and your team is the Tennessee Volunteers. I'm Eric Cain, your host here of Locked On Vols. I am a part of the VolQuest.com team covering Tennessee athletics each and every day over at VolQuest.com. And got a fun show coming up here today, kind of previewing what's to come for this weekend, who all is going to be on campus, who's at least slated to be on campus this weekend for official visitors, who were some of the bigger names, all that and more that's coming up here in segment number one. Ranking the opposing quarterbacks Tennessee's going to face in the SEC. That's coming up in segment number two. Locked On Sooners did this exercise, and they ranked Joey Aguilar number 7 out of 8 quarterbacks Tennessee or Oklahoma's going to face this year. We'll get to that. We'll look at their rankings and kind of crap all over their rankings here in a little bit. But overall, I thought it'd be a fun exercise, so that's coming up in segment number 2. And then in segment number 3, we're going to look at the football game time windows and what you like, what you dislike, all that and more coming up here on a Friday show. All right, the biggest name that's set to be on campus this weekend for Tennessee is wide receiver Tristen Keys. TK Keys, Tristen Keys, he's been a long-time target for Tennessee, an elite level talent. On3 Industry Rankings has him as the number 5 prospect in the class, number 1 wide receiver, and number 1 from the state of Mississippi. Of course, he's from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, where he's at 6'2.5-ish, about 185 pounds. LSU commit. Okay, he's been a Tennessee target for quite some time. Went ahead and committed to LSU. We'll call it mid-March or so. But as is the case for a lot of these, top flight, not just receivers but prospects, they're going to continue to take their official visits and go, here and there and all this and more, because that's, drive up the price, right? And you're never going to have this much leverage, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And so might as well take advantage of that. So Tristen Keys is going to be on campus, and we'll see if Tennessee can make a move with the 5-star wide receiver. Again, On3 has him specifically as the number 8 in the class overall, number 1 wide receiver. 247 has him at number 4. ESPN has him as the number 10 prospect in the class, number 2 wide receiver in the class, and Rivals has him at number 5 and number 1. So any way you want to spin it's one of the best players in the cycle, no doubt, and Tristen Keys is expected to be on campus this weekend, taking an official visit with the University of Tennessee. All right, so who are some of those other names that are going to be on campus? Again, this is a big list coming up this weekend for Tennessee. Some of those other names include Zion Gibson, J.D. Theodore, Nick Hankins, T.J. White, C.J. Edwards, Tristan Givens, of course, a big-time Leo prospect for Tennessee. Zach Groves, of course, we know that name. J.J. Fentz, Iverson Garcia, and that's a local prospect, actually, a defensive end from Powell, Tennessee. So that's interesting. A couple of local prospects on this list. Tyson Bacon, I doubt, is going to be in this weekend. Originally, he was going to come in, but Tyson Bacon, I would assume that's not going to be the case. Jax Tanner from Rocky Mountain High School in Indiana. Let's go. Brody Smith, another one of those local prospect, and he's at Maryville High School, used to play at Knox West, offensive lineman. We know who his father is. Brody Smith is expected to be on campus this weekend. J.B. Shabazz, offensive lineman. I just mentioned Tristen Keys. Chris Stewart, a wide receiver, supposed to be on campus from Shadow Creek High School in Texas. Legend Bay, wide receiver, supposed to be on campus. And then, of course, the quarterback of the class in Faison Brandon, who's coming in for his official visit this week here at Tennessee. Again, that's a list of about, let's go ahead and count them up right now, shall we? Ooh, my phone's playing games on me. Apologies. Let's go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's 17 if you take out Tyson Bacon. So that's 17 prospects who were expected to be on campus this weekend for official visits. Again, Tennessee got kicked off with 8 last week. This is a big weekend, and then next weekend's going to be a big weekend as well. And that's kind of when, the class, in terms of official visitors, the bulk of those guys are going to be in here. And again, this is a pivotal month for Tennessee. Massive, massive month for Tennessee because, again, we talk about it all the time. Come in as juniors, see a game day visit, come in for a junior day, come back for a spring practice, come in for the 865 Live, come in for your official visit, and then hopefully that's enough to get a commitment sometime in the month of June or July and August. And Tennessee now has 9 commits for the class of 2026. Of course, Tennessee put up a commitment yesterday in KJ McClain. We spoke about him. Faison Brandon leading the way, the 5-star quarterback in this class. Gabriel Asinda, 4-star offensive lineman that's got a big boost, a big boost in terms of the 247 rankings. They had him going up from, I don't know where he was, but he's a top 20 player in the class now, according to the 247 rankings. And, on 3, and then another rankings update, we'll see kind of where he goes. But currently, he's not a top 300 player at On 3. He's not a top 300 player for ESPN. He's 45th by Rivals. And, of course, On 3 and Rivals are about to merge together here at the end of this month. So, Gabriel Asinda feels like it's a prospect that is on the climb, that is certainly continuing to excel in terms of recruiting ranking. He's not going to be on campus this weekend. I'm just kind of going through the class, but I wanted to bring that to your attention because he's had a really, really good spring here lately as a prospect. Tyreek King, who we spoke about yesterday on the show, Brian Smith, Locked On the Portal, and of course he does recruiting hits all across the Locked On Podcast Network, and he hosts his show Locked On FSU, Locked On Seminoles. Tyreek King, he believes he's the number 2 slot receiver in the class. On 3's kind of got him up there. He's a top 100, top 75 player actually. 247 Sports does not have him in their top 247. ESPN's got him at number 51 overall, and Rivals has him at number 29 overall. So Tyreek King, that one's continuing to look better and better. And of course, from Knoxville Catholic nearby here in the Knoxville area, so local prospects staying home. But that one continues to look better and better. You got Zach Groves, who I believe, did I mention his name? Yeah, I think he's going to be in on his official visit this weekend. Did I mention his name? Let's double check. Yep, Zach Groves. He's going to be in here. Tennessee commit, 4-star. Again, he's a top 237 player per On 3, 223 per ESPN, and we'll see what Rivals does when they come out with their new rankings. But that's a 4-star, again, taking an official visit this weekend. Carson Sneed, the tight end, 4-star in this class. There's been a lot of talk about potentially him leaving the class, but hey, so far, he's still stuck in with it. Spoke with VolQuest.com a couple weeks ago when he was on campus and said, he's keeping his options open essentially, but, he wants to be at Tennessee. So I thought that was a good sign. We'll see how long that lasts, if that does last. But Carson Sneed, the tight end commit from Middle Tennessee, still in this class. KJ McClain, who committed yesterday, the 3-star defensive back. Tyron Evans, the 3-star wide receiver. CJ Edwards, the 3-star edge player. And Braylon Outlaw, the 3-star linebacker. So that's 9 commits for Tennessee that currently sits 12th in the class nationally and number 5 in the SEC. Why did I say ACC? 5th in the SEC. That blue chip ratio currently sitting at 56%. So, big weekend coming up. Massive weekend coming up for the University of Tennessee in terms of hosting some prospects, and none is bigger than Tristen Keys. We'll see if it moves the needle at all. Again, I think that one's going to continue to come down to the very end because I don't think any team's going to go away. Tennessee's not going to go away. Of course, Tennessee's already got a couple of wide receiver commits, and of course, Tyreek King and Tyron Evans is a wide receiver in this class. And so, if something were to happen, certainly Tennessee would take him. They'd have 3 in this class. I think they're probably going to try to, get 3 anyway. But really, really good-looking group of prospects who are set to be on campus this week. We'll go ahead and read them once more. Zion Gibson, the defensive back from Alabama. J.D. Theodore, the defensive back from Baylor School. And again, Baylor's kind of got an interesting little pipeline, from Canada coming to Baylor and then so on into SEC or Power 4 programs. He's another one of those in a long list. And of course, there's a 2027 running back down at Baylor High School that's going to be one of the best ones in the country. Tennessee very much in that one. Of course, Joakim Dotson coming to Tennessee. Maury Jefferson's now at Tennessee. Gabriel Asinda is in this class. Baylor starting to turn out a lot of talent for the University of Tennessee. And, of course, we'll see if Theodore can maybe be added to that. And, Tennessee's in a really, really good spot with him. Nick Hankins, the defensive back from Illinois. T.J. White, linebacker from Jackson, Mississippi. C.J. Edwards, the Leo. C.J. Edwards, who is a part of this class. Trying to look up what his ranking is. Okay, 3-star 6'5", 215, needs to put on a lot of weight, of course. But C.J. Edwards, another commit that is set to take his official visit in this class. We talked about Tristen Keys, very highly rated target for the University of Tennessee that Tennessee really, really likes, and is continuing to pursue very, very hard and at the Leo position. Now this official visit weekend is going to be big for him for sure. Zach Groves, J.J. Fence, let's see here. Albert, the defensive lineman from Mississippi. Garcia, the defensive lineman from Powell. Jax Tanner, the offensive lineman from Indiana. And then Brody Smith, offensive lineman from, son of Lee Smith, offensive lineman at Maryville, formerly of West High School. J.B. Sabaj, the offensive lineman from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Tristen Keys. Chris Stewart from Houston, Texas, a wide receiver. Legend Bay, wide receiver from Heartland, Texas. And Faison Brandon, of course, the quarterback in this class. So, it's going to be a busy, busy weekend. Look forward to hearing what comes out of this weekend. Look forward to checking out what Matt Ray, Brent Hubbs, and Austin Price come up with on Sunday and Monday a little bit. Maybe I'll be helping them some this weekend. Usually when there's a big group on hand, they kind of need all hands on deck. And so spent many Sunday mornings at the airport before in my day, so we'll see. But we'll see if Josh Heupel can move the needle a little bit. This is a big pivotal weekend in the recruiting calendar. And as I went over the names, a lot of talent, a lot of star power, led by Tristen Keys for sure, and two commitments for the University of Tennessee that are set to have their official visits this weekend. All right, when we come back, we're going to rank the opposing quarterbacks for the University of Tennessee that the Volunteers are going to play in SEC play. That is coming up next. Who's number 1? Who's number 8? And this is not a very good list. I'm going to be honest with you. All that and more is coming up next right here on Locked On Vols. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? I certainly have. But sometimes, the money comes in and then it just goes somewhere else, right? We're all kind of like that. Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money, you start building wealth. When I started using Monarch Money, I truly started to realize just how much money I was spending, online shopping, food delivery, stuff like that. Now I can budget smarter and I'm saving even more money. Instead of juggling multiple apps, I can use Monarch, check my finances, track my spending, even plan long-term goals all in one place, stress-free as well. So you can take control of your finances with Monarch Money today, just like I did. Use promo code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, promo code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Go ahead and check it all out at Monarch Money. So Locked On Sooners did this exercise, and they put it in our hosting group chat a couple of days ago. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes I get a couple of days behind reading that group chat. And I was going over it, just perusing through it Thursday afternoon, and I saw where they ranked the opposing quarterbacks in the SEC that Oklahoma is going to face this year. And they went 1 through 8. And I immediately looked down there, and I was looking for Tennessee's quarterback, but obviously I don't know exactly who's going to be the starting quarterback for Tennessee. I assume Joey Aguilar is probably the leader in the clubhouse, but we'll see, and that's kind of what Locked On Sooners did as well. And Locked On Sooners had Joey Aguilar as the 7th best SEC quarterback the Sooners are going to face this year, meaning the second worst in their rankings. Only one quarterback they believe is worse than Joey Aguilar that the Sooners are going to face this year in SEC play. Number 1 was Gus Nussmeier. Hard to argue that. Garrett Nussmeier. Number 2 was, if I can even read my own writing, Lenora Sellers. Number 3, Arch Manning. Number 4, Ty Simpson. Number 5, Jackson Arnold. Number 6, Austin Simmons, Ole Miss. Number 7, Joey Aguilar, and then the Missouri quarterback is number 8. With their rankings alone, and they said that we can yell at them and make fun of them, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. And if somebody wants to look at how I rank mine, they can do the same thing and then do their rankings. That's kind of what I'm paying it forward, right? The fact that they have Ty Simpson at number 4, no disrespect, but what on earth has he done in his college career? He's been a career backup, and that's fine. You want that on your team, and now he's waited his turn, and we'll see what he's got, but there's nothing that Ty Simpson has done that would have me rank him ahead of even Jackson Arnold. Aguilar's got more experience than he does for sure. Again, Oklahoma's is kind of like Tennessee's. It's top heavy to a degree, but then there's, the turnover quarterback in the SEC it's pretty massive this year. So I mean, like, I said here, I was gonna go on this stand about how Ty Simpson was ranked too high, but then again, Jackson Arnold's behind him in their rankings. Austin Simmons, first year starting quarterback. Joey Aguilar, first year in the SEC, and the Missouri quarterback that transferred in. It's brand new for him too. So I guess when I'm sitting here thinking about it in real time at the time of this recording, maybe that's not too high. But ultimately, I think Jackson Arnold is not a very good quarterback either, and I think Locked On Sooners is putting way too much stock in their former quarterback as well. But anyway, this is not a Sooners podcast. This is a volunteer podcast. So let's apply that same exercise, but let's do it for Tennessee's opposing quarterbacks in the SEC play. Looking at the SEC slates 1 through 8, here's how I'm going to do it in reverse order. Number 8, the starting quarterback for Kentucky. He might not even win the job. I'm assuming he will. Cutter Boley, is he still there? Maybe he'll win it at Kentucky, but nonetheless, I've got Zach Calzada, former Auburn, former Texas A&M. I want to say former LSU. Maybe I'm making that up. I know that he was just somewhere else outside of the conference as well. Zach Calzada, you love their regulars in the transfer portal. I'm going to have him as the number 8 ranked out of 8, number 8th ranked quarterback in SEC play that Tennessee will face. Number 7 is Blake Shapen. Oh, of course, Zach Calzada is now at Kentucky, by the way. Number 7 is Blake Shapen, formerly of Baylor, transferred into Mississippi State last year, played the first 2 games, and then was lost to the season with injury. Tennessee saw Van Buren, the true freshman who is now at LSU, backing up Garrett Nussmeier. It's Shapen's deal now, as far as I know, but again, he missed a lot of time last year, and maybe I should have him ranked ahead of my next guy. Maybe he should even be at number 5, but he didn't prove a lot to me before his injury. Stats weren't horrible, but I mean, he just missed a whole lot of time last year. So I got Blake Shapen there at number 7, the starting quarterback from Mississippi State, if he is the starter. I assume he is. Here's where Ty Simpson comes in for me, and again, maybe I'm overvaluing him here even because I go on experience, what I've seen personally more than anything, but he is a veteran. He's been not necessarily in that system for Kellen DeBoer, but he's been with that program for 3 years now. Now is his 4th season or 5th season. I can't remember if he's a redshirt or not. And he's going to get his chance probably. I don't think it's all said and done that he is the starting quarterback in Tuscaloosa, but right now I'll kind of say that he is. I'll pick him to be the starting quarterback for this exercise on June the 13th. I have Ty Simpson there at number 6, the starting quarterback for Alabama. At number 5, and tell me if this is too low. I don't think that he's very good. I just don't. He didn't really show me anything in the SEC championship. He didn't show me anything in the college football playoffs. Georgia's starting quarterback and Gunnar Stockton coming in at number 5 for me. I think he'll be the 5th best quarterback Tennessee sees this year on the SEC slate. Maybe that's too low. I don't think it is. Number 4, and I saw this firsthand, and I know his stats by the end of the year weren't like eye-popping or anything, and maybe you credit Tennessee had a really good defense last year, but it just wasn't Tennessee's day overall on the road at Arkansas. Fayetteville, of course, I just got back from there. 2 trips to Fayetteville, 0-3 to see the teams I cover play. Taylon Green, I'm going to have him there at number 4 because I saw with my own eyes him splitting the needle, threading the needle, getting the football into tight windows, throwing down the sideline, running, making throws on the run. I saw it. Again, I didn't watch every single Arkansas game last year because I covered the University of Tennessee, but of the games that I did see, he balled out. He certainly balled out against Tennessee as well. So I've got Taylon Green there at number 4. Number 3, this one's based on what he did outside of the conference, but transferring into the SEC, it's hard not to like the physical makeup of a John Mateer. Cannot replace a Gary Mateer. John Mateer, Oklahoma starting quarterback. We'll see how good he is, but based on what he's done, based on his stature, his projections and everything, I'm okay with putting him in here at number 3 on Tennessee's schedule of opposing quarterbacks. So John Mateer, Oklahoma, coming in there at number 3. Number 2, Diego Pavia. Diego Pavia. Is that too high? Maybe. Tennessee controlled him pretty well. Pretty daggone well. Tennessee handled him in the final game of the regular season. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but he did not have a good game whatsoever. On the year, he had a really good game. Now, Vanderbilt's offense was nothing but him. He led them in carries, led them in rushing yards. Of course, he was the quarterback. As he went, Vanderbilt's team went, and he didn't go anywhere that day against Tennessee. But again, kind of like what we were talking about with Locked On Sooners and their quarterback rankings, and again, this is a bigger SEC conversation about the turnover at quarterback. there's not a whole lot of options here. And Pavia is a great athlete, and he's allowed to play right now unless there's, something between now and the start of the season, which is just wild. But I have him there at number 2. Tell me if that's too high. Number 1 is DJ Lagway. And I know he's getting hyped up all offseason, all that. I mean, I think he's got unbelievable potential. I also think that as a first-year starter, well, he took over for an injured veteran in front of him. Of course, he got hurt in the Tennessee game. Threw a lot of picks, threw 9 picks. He's got to cut down on those, but I think he is easily the best or most dangerous quarterback that Tennessee's going to see in SEC play in 2025. So, again, in review, ranking the opposing SEC quarterbacks Tennessee's going to face in 2025. Number 1, DJ Lagway of Florida. Number 2 is Diego Pavia of Vanderbilt. Number 3 is John Mateer of Oklahoma. Number 4 is Taylon Green of Arkansas. Number 5 is Gunnar Stockton of Georgia. Number 6 is Ty Simpson of Alabama. Number 7 is Blake Shapen of Mississippi State. Number 8, if it is him, Zach Calzada of Kentucky coming in there in last place. How would you rank them? And would you have a different quarterback starting for Kentucky and maybe even Alabama? Let me know at _Cainer and at Locked On Vols. Shout out to Locked On Sooners for the topic idea, the segment idea. They had Joey Aguilar at number 7, and that's probably fair based on he's never done it at this level, and kind of like what we're talking about with Mississippi State and with Kentucky and really with Alabama. Is he the starting quarterback? We think that he is, but it's not official yet. So shout out Locked On Sooners for the topic idea. All right, when we come back, football game windows. We know exactly when Tennessee's going to play what teams about, around about the time period and the day. We know some networks. We know, I want to say 5 kickoff times, all that and more. What do we know about the University of Tennessee's football schedule? That's coming up next, right here as we conclude a Friday Locked On Vols. All right, it was Wednesday afternoon, and it was 2 new kickoff times were announced for Tennessee as the entire Tennessee football 2025 schedule was kind of made public. The SEC released TV designations and windows for kickoff times and all that, and we got a really, really good idea of kind of what Tennessee's schedule is going to look like. So games can either be early, which is 12 or 1 p.m. kickoff times, or 12:45. They can be afternoon, which is 3:30. Let's see. I've got this right here in 1 second in real time. This is great. Football. Going to tell me how to do this. All right, here we go. You got the early window, which is between 12 and 1 o'clock p.m. The afternoon window, which is between 3:30 and 4:30 p.m. And then the night window, which is between 6 and 8 p.m., all times Eastern. Then you have a flex. If you are in the flex window, it's either afternoon or night. So it's between kickoff between 3:30 and 4:30 p.m. or kickoff between 6 and 8 p.m. And as we see Tennessee's schedule and kind of where is what, we already knew the first, 3 weeks of the slate a couple of weeks ago. ESPN released that. We already knew what the homecoming game was going to be. So really, we only figured out 2 more starting times yesterday, or 2 days ago when this was released, and that was the UAB kickoff time and the New Mexico State kickoff time. So that's what we learned earlier this week, but when you compile it all together, you see something looking like this. Tennessee is going to, and again, we've known this for a while, it's going to be a noon kickoff against Syracuse in the Aflac Kickoff Challenge, or whatever that's called, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That's going to be on ABC. We've known that. ETSU Week 2, that's going to be the SEC digital stream, SEC Network Plus, 3:30 in the afternoon. Why that game is not a nooner, I will never understand. What a miss. What an absolute miss. I mean, it's right in the middle of the day, so you can't really finish the early games, and you're going to be late watching the night games if you cover Tennessee like I do. And really, if you just watch Tennessee as a football fan. Georgia. We knew this, ABC 3:30 kickoff. That's going to be week 3. That's a home game. We learned that the UAB kickoff time is going to be at 12:45. 12:45 on the SEC network. Of course, that game is at home. So in the first 4 weeks of the season, Tennessee has 2 early games, a 12 nooner against Syracuse and Atlanta, and a 12:45 week 4 against UAB. And then Tennessee's going to be having 2 3:30 kickoffs, both home games, week 2 against ETSU, the digital one on SEC Network Plus, and Georgia on ABC. There are going to be a lot of eyeballs across the country watching that game, an early Pivotal college football playoff implication, SEC championship game implication, potentially, depending on kind of what happens with Tennessee and Georgia this year. That's coming up in week 3 on ABC. Week 4, at Mississippi State. That is going to be a flex game, so it's either in the afternoon or at night. Arkansas at home. That is going to be a flex game, so either in the afternoon or at night. Again, 3:30 to 4:30 or 6 to 8. Kentucky is always a night game. The last time Tennessee played Kentucky and it wasn't a night game was the 2020 season, when that season was just really, really weird to begin with. Kentucky in Lexington is going to be a night game, so that's going to be in between 6 and 8 o'clock. And again, official game times for these windows are going to be announced 2 weeks prior to kickoff, along with television designation. So Kentucky's going to be a night game. We know that. It's always typically a night game. The Oklahoma game is going to be a flex. So it's either in the afternoon or it's either at night. New Mexico State was the other one that we found out 2 days ago. That game is going to be at 4:15 p.m. Eastern time on the SEC network. Why a kickoff time is going to be at 4:15, I'll never understand. It makes no sense. 4:15. Why? Why not 4 o'clock? Why not 4 o'clock? That's just so dumb, right? 4:15? Goodness gracious. All right, so we learned that the other day. Again, that's New Mexico State at home. It's going to be at 4:15. Florida on the road is going to be a flex game. If that is not a night game, I think somebody's doing something wrong. Night in the swamp. I assume that at Florida is going to be a night game, but that is a flex game. Either or, though, it's going to be late November, so it's not going to be hot. It's not going to be muggy. It'll be warmer for sure, but it's not going to be like playing at the beginning of or the mid-September or the end of September when it's just so hot and muggy. Looking forward to that. And, of course, Vanderbilt is going to be afternoon. Why the Vanderbilt game is not early, either 12 or 1, it's ridiculous. Vanderbilt should always be a nooner. Kentucky should always be a night game. Florida should always be a night game. And then, the non-conference game in November should always be a 4 or a nooner. The fact that's 4:15. So those are kind of my thoughts. So Vanderbilt's either going to be at noon or Vanderbilt's going to be at about 3:30 kickoff, somewhere 3:30 to 4:30 kickoff, whatever that afternoon slot is. Yeah, 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. So again, some windows here, and we'll get official game times and TV designations 2 weeks prior to kickoff. But what we do know for a fact, Tennessee has 5 games that have a television designation and 5 kickoff times. Noon ABC against Syracuse, 3:30 SEC Network Plus ETSU, 3:30 ABC Georgia, 12:45 SEC Network UAB, 4:15 SEC Network New Mexico State. Mississippi State, Arkansas, Alabama, Oklahoma, and Florida, all flex. And the only night game that we know for a fact that's going to be happening this year is Kentucky. And the only afternoon game that we know for a fact, actually, I'll take that back because there's already a couple of 3:30s on the schedule. Potentially another 3:30 kickoff, or it could be 4:30, is going to be Vanderbilt to end the regular season. So I would assume Tennessee's certainly going to get a couple more night games. Alabama has the potential to be a night game, or that could also be an afternoon game in Tuscaloosa. Oklahoma I could see being a night game. And then, like I said, Florida, I'm sure it's going to be a night game. But they take into account what are the games are on the schedule, college football playoff races, all that and more. So that's the window for Tennessee. It kind of seems a little complex, maybe, right? But nonetheless, that's just kind of how they do it in television designations and all that. But looks pretty good. And again, going back to what time and date and the way the schedule lays out. Even time of the day, honestly, and then going back to the quarterbacks Tennessee's going to square off in SEC play. Again, that's why, I am not so many people in the national media having a national perspective. I say this all the time. They see James Pierce is gone, Nico's gone, Dylan Sampson's gone, this, that, and the other. This roster is still good. The schedule could be so much worse. It's been so much worse in years past. The opposing quarterbacks, really not that impressive. So as long as Tennessee runs the football, stops the run, plays some decent defense, and doesn't turn over the football, again, there's no reason why the Volunteers cannot hit the over at FanDuel Sportsbook at that 8.5 and have at least 9 regular season wins. That's kind of where I'm at. And I continue to, as we get closer to the season and we start digging down deep more into previews, and we'll do that series here coming up at some point, but it's I'm not coming off that just yet. Until I have good reason to, I'm not coming off that. So would love to hear from you at _Cainer and at Locked On Vols. That is going to do it here for today's Locked On Vols. Can't thank you enough for being here, making Locked On Vols your first listen, your first watch each and every single day. Have a great weekend, everybody. You guys know we're going to be back Monday morning. We'll recap all that was in terms of official visits, some of the big news items out of the weekend, all that and more. We'll continue to talk about it right here on Locked On Vols. Enjoy your weekend, everybody.